What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the deliciously dank Dr. Disaster. And, of course, one of the best ways for positive word of mouth to spread for a new game is to let reviewers get early copies so that they can tell gamers all about it, but it has become the industry standard for the studios that make games to put an embargo on the reviews, which only gets lifted about 1 or 2 days prior to the game's release. And we all know what this is.
Just plain chicken shit.
Chicken shit?
Chicken shit.
The idea behind this practice is that all the big mainstream outlets like IGN, Kotaku, and Game Rant will put out their score for the game, which we all know will be positive, of course, and gamers will be inundated with news that the bought and paid for corporate butt-kissing critics love the new game. And before any potential negative reviews come out from more independent thinkers, a lot of knee-jerk gamers will have already purchased the game.
Sorry, absolutely no refund!
This is the sort of thing that Ubisoft does. They want you to buy with as little information as possible. They want you to give in to the FOMO. That is why, when a studio chooses to buck the trend and lift the embargo early, it is noteworthy, because they don't have to. Because that generally means the studio has faith that their game will be well received. Doom: The Dark Ages is one such game. The review embargo has been announced to be lifted about a week before its release.
Now, there's a lot of confidence right there. I like that. I like that, gentlemen.
And the sales numbers for Doom: The Dark Ages look pretty solid too. Over on Steam, the game is currently sitting at number 25 on the top sellers list. It's the number 10 most wishlisted game, and they've got almost 70,000 followers. Those aren't earth-shattering numbers, but certainly they are solid, a week and a half out from a game's release. The game is being released on Game Pass right away on day one, but the pre-order numbers that I have access to sound promising, and all of this signals, once again, that games with real popularity will still sell well even when they're on Game Pass. This destroys the narrative that we got from titles like Avowed, where they said that Game Pass was the reason that they sold like shit. The devs and the defenders of the game insulted gamers, but now Doom is swooping in to put them in their place.
You have always been weak, you stupid traitor.
Nobody talks to my friends like that.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, share the vid with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet, and don't forget to follow me over on X, where I keep a list of games lousy with wokeness pinned to the account at all times for your reference. My handle over there is Dr. Disaster 1. But in any case, let's talk about Doom: The Dark Ages and why I suspect that this is going to be another really fun game in a year where already we have seen quite a few excellent releases. As I said before, it is a pretty good sign that they will be allowing reviewers to put up their reviews starting this Friday. Not many studios do that these days, and in fact, in this article they talk about that by saying it's common convention for AAA studios to lift embargoes 1 to 2 days before launch in alignment with standard media cycles. However, opening reviews 6 days before launch or 4 days before the premium edition signals high confidence from Bethesda, who likely anticipate strong critical reception and positive buzz ahead of the game's release. I mean, just look at the footage of this game that's running in the background there. People are going to like this game and they're going to buy it regardless of the fact that it will be on Game Pass. The other day, I read a post from Asmongold talking about the Game Pass phenomenon and how, in truth, it does lower the sales numbers of games. There will at least be some people out there who normally would have purchased a game, but instead they played it for a couple weeks on Game Pass and then moved on with their lives, and he's not wrong, of course. Game Pass does dip into the sales numbers of these games to at least some degree. However, this is not actually a new phenomenon. The thing is, Game Pass amounts to a rental. You functionally rent the game when you use the service, and rental services have been around for a long-ass time. I've rented a few games in my day, not since I became an adult, mind you, but when I was a kid, I remember renting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo, and I loved it so much that I had to have it. So, after renting it one weekend, I went out and bought the full game after saving up some money. The dynamic is not different now. Gamers like to support games that they actually enjoy, and if they really like something, they want to flat out own a copy of it. With all of that in mind, let's take a look at the pre-order numbers on Doom the Dark Ages. In case you didn't know, I have some contacts in the retail world, a few people who have access to the sales data for retail stores spread out across a few different chains, totaling up to almost 50 stores in heavily trafficked locations. They help me keep track of sales trends, and usually the information they provide gives us a good idea as to how well a game will sell. Using the numbers that they feed me, I was able to accurately predict, for example, that Star Wars Outlaws and Dragon Age the Veilguard would sell like shit. Meanwhile, we could see that Space Marine 2 and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 would sell well. So, we are a week and a half removed from the release of Doom the Dark Ages, and pre-orders for all the stores combined, it is currently sitting at 148 copies that have been sold thus far. Now, in order to give you some context, it is selling light years ahead of the likes of Avowed, which, at this same point, when they were a week and a half removed from that game's release, they had sold a paltry 18 copies of that game. Now, in all fairness though, Doom the Dark Ages is available on both the Xbox and the PlayStation, so that does give it a leg up in a head-to-head with Avowed, which was an Xbox exclusive. So, let's make some more comparisons. Dragon Age the Veilguard, when that game was a week and a half out from launch, had only sold 73 pre-orders in those same stores. This means that Doom has more than doubled the sales total of that game, despite the fact that they are a Game Pass title. It's kicking the shit out of Star Wars Outlaws as well, which, at the same stage before its release, had only sold 83 copies in those stores. No, Doom is actually much closer to some pretty illustrious company, though there is a noticeable gap between them. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 had sold 191 copies a week and a half ahead of its launch, and Space Marine 2 had sold 199 copies in that same time frame. So yeah, Doom isn't doing quite as well as those games, but it is kicking the shit out of stuff like Avowed. But I'm gonna leave it there. Are you planning to play Doom? And if so, will you do it on Game Pass? And if not, if you're not gonna buy Doom, then why not? Drop your thoughts into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.